Dream Warriors, thank you for joining me. We're ready. It's day 26, and we're talking Cat People, directed by Paul Schrader. I am so excited to talk about this movie because you know why? It's forgotten, and it's redemptive. So, you already hear that music. Those creepy sounds are rolling in. Let's just get through this intro, because it's a formality, and get to the episode. Let's rock and roll. Alright. I'm gonna have to put on my my earphones for this because I do like to hear myself. Dream Warriors, thank you so much. Oh man, what a journey has all of this been. I really had to bust my butt to catch up on everything we were doing with the 31 Days of Dread. I fell behind actually two and a half days. And you're like, where's that 0.5 coming from? Well, when I went to RetroCon, it flowed right from me not posting and recording on Sunday. That went right into Monday, because Monday actually turned out to be like a busy day. I had a little date with a lady friend. I'm weak, so I kind of tried to do both. Didn't do both because I think I crashed at her place. So Monday was gone, and then I had to wait one half of a day to even post on that following Tuesday, and that escalated all the way to the weekend, where this weekend I literally had to shut the door, pile up a couple episodes, and just get to it. And and this is where we are. So just to be clear, this is not the 26th on the 26th. I apologize for that, but doing Caned and shelved episodes and shelved content, it's a part of content creation, period. There's unreleased Caned episodes for everything. I'm sure, I don't know what the Netflix production pipeline is like, but I think because I was strictly kind of talking about radio shows and TV shows like network television, I don't know if streaming stockpiles episodes. Everything seems to be an arc, even like the comedies, even like something like The Ranch, the Ashton Kutcher comedy on Netflix, which was like a throwback. And actually, from what I saw of that, I enjoyed it a ton. And check that out if you feel like it. Or if you feel like doing anything. Listen to Dream Warriors and tell your friends about it. But look, everyone, I'm Peter. I'm your host, AKAPAD, your boy. This is somewhat of a free show, free for you, but it costs me time and money and all these other resources. And you can repay the favor. You can support me by going to akapad.com. You can link to my Patreon. You can hit my Etsy. You can actually purchase products and services if you're looking for graphic design, web design, logo design, that sort of thing. You can purchase that through my Etsy. I already have some sales coming in. Thank you so much, everyone. The link, if you are listening on SoundCloud, there's now a link to my Patreon from this track alone. It should be labeled Fund Original Content or Fund This Show. I haven't really decided on what that link should be, what the actual words for that link should be, why do we have to give you any money, Peter? Well, look, that's a solid question. I fully understand, but I want to bring this show to other levels. I have hopes and dreams and ideas for what this show can be, and so it's almost like any money is going to go right back into the show, and this is going to be building resources to get better guests here, building resources to actually start promoting the show on other venues and avenues, and collaborating with other shows, period, that are somewhat like-minded. So, it's money's a factor, but the other way to help is if you do not want to pay, you can leave comments and repost and interact and become a part of the Dream Warriors community. That is as valuable as money. So you got two wonderful options. But look, we're getting the cat people. What cat people, Peter? There's isn't there two cat people? Well, if you've seen the thumbnail, you will know from the artwork that we're talking the 1982 version. And you're like, what? Well, 20 years before that, in 1942, there was a cat people. Cat people, the Paul Schrader, the guy who wrote Taxi Driver, Raging Bull, and wrote and directed a ton of other movies. He's the most decorated screenwriter director ever, meaning screenwriter first, director second. He's the best. And I made an error a few episodes ago where I called and I got mixed up in my brain, in my gray matter. The lines didn't intersect properly, but I got Joe Esterhazy mixed up with Paul Schrader. And Joe Esterhazy also is one of the greatest screenwriters in Hollywood history. He's a guy that brought us Showgirls, the film he would not want to be known for, but I like Showgirls. I don't know why. And probably it's because it's just filled with hot babes. I'm very simple when it comes to that. Speaking of hot babes, cat people. Oh my God, we're talking about a serious movie here. We're talking about one of the most unique movies stacked within the 31 Days of Dread. It's stacked so so well that while I was watching it, I was upset. I was upset that this was a movie. Okay, just from the opening credits alone. The opening credits, okay, is a flashback. We later see a connection. So there's like two flashbacks. It's the beginning and the exposition towards the end. So I'll tell you about the opening, because I love mood. I love opening credits. I love slow crawls. This probably goes from the first time I retained what that was in filmmaking, and that's when I saw the '89 Batman movie, where I was a kid. I was watching that in the theater, and I was convinced. I was very much convinced that the crane work, because we're kind of in the tunnel, it was going to be the Batcave, and the opening music and the score and the Danny Elfman, probably like his best score ever. Like the Danny Elfman music and the cave was going to bring us to the Dark Knight, and that didn't happen because it was a gotcha, and it was actually the logo of the Dark Knight carved in stone, which makes so much sense when I talk about it now. So ever since then, how movies establish themselves, it's almost like the content is present over the product, and that's why I like when they do corrupted logos, like kind of like The Matrix. Those movies begin, you hear the music, everything's green. The logos are green, like everything fits within the Matrix, and and it's like the Fox fanfare being so intertwined and connected to Star Wars, where it fades into the Lucasfilm logo. It's almost like I do wish that never went away. I wish Disney made a deal with Fox, and I guess now we can have it again because Disney owns Fox. So, but who knows? Portions of that and some of the way that they're breaking up that deal is still in dispute. They still haven't figured out the TV content. The news is separate, but the other stuff is it seems like a little bit slow. But they do have to the end of the year, to get it and get traction, because that's when the deal is finalized. But business talk aside, this movie begins with red, and we're in the desert, and we hear the wind blowing, and I didn't realize this at the time, but we have a David Bowie track coming in. So now we have David Bowie and Paul Schrader in this movie, and it's a slow drawback. And we're going through the entire credits, and it's just saints and skulls. And then we go into a tree, and there's a panther, and there's a woman. And, kind of somewhat sacrificial. It's unclear, and then it jumps into, modern day. And then we have Natasha Kinski, who is looking like a dime piece. Incredible. Every single girl in this movie is in so well of shape in 1982, which is evident in the fitness craze catching on. Home fitness, personal fitness, going to gyms started to catch on at this time. Okay, a huge thank you for that would be like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like bodybuilding was hitting the lexicon. Mr. Universe was on like ABC Sports and all these other things at this time. And we can see it. Like these girls aren't just skinny or like, like they have a shape. There is muscle tone. So anyway, so we jump to her, and she's kind of getting dropped off in New Orleans and looking for her brother, and she finds her brother. And this entire time, we know her brother is transforming into a panther, killing people. And then the rest of the movie is Natasha Kinski dealing with the reality of who she is and what she is. She has Wolverine syndrome, doesn't remember a thing, doesn't even remember why she's drawn to her brother. And it just essentially builds into an argument for incest. And I haven't seen a movie that argues incest as well as cat people, because it is kind of their way of life. It's the only way that they can go on and reproduce and break their own curse. Right. This is true. You have to have incest to break the curse of the cat people. And I think Wikipedia like delightfully classified this movie as erotic horror. When it comes to erotic horror, I'm not sure what else I could compare this to. How well it measures up against other erotic horror. I really didn't want to research other erotic horror to measure it up, because sometimes you want to trust yourself, and what comes to mind, sometimes it's the truth, and sometimes if you're well versed and well educated on some subjects and nothing comes to mind, you kind of know it's maybe an outlier, and the extra effort may not be worth it, because then you're potentially doing square peg round hole, and I think it pulls away from your argument and your belief and what and potentially what the absolute reality is. So I would not really measure cat people up with anything, but the movie itself deals with elements that, like I said, the incest element in this movie, it's played straight. It's not played horrifically, and it's not played for laughs. It's straight incest. Now, given these are cursed people and they transform into panthers, and you have two options. Okay, you bang one of your siblings and you stay human, or you continue to transform into the panther and eat people, and you can stay to be a panther. And the love story that is intertwined in this, and the connections of some of the characters are, like they're blatant. They're not subtle. They're not very nuanced. We do have like a wonderful like cast here. So let me go through. We have Natasha Kinski, Malcolm McDowell, John Hurd, Annette O'Toole, Ruby Dee, Ed Begley Jr., and Scott Pollan. Now, and Frankie Falson. Frankie Falson, you've seen in like a dozen movies. Ed Begley Jr., we've seen. Ed Begley Jr. literally gets his arm torn off in this movie, and it is bloody. So, aside from the erotic, okay, because Natasha Kinski and John Hurd, they have a bustling, growing relationship. We have Malcolm McDowell trying to lure his sister into a relationship, but he can't stop killing, and this is where like the movie almost needs like a couple more shots of like exposition, because like, that Natasha Kinski has been transforming and killing people up until now. Her arrival to New Orleans is not very clear, at least to when I saw it. Now, given I could probably see this movie another 2 to 3 times to absorb like all the information, okay? Because look, there's 2 phases I like to see movies. I like to see movies one time I almost get like the emotional effect. And the second time, I'm a little bit more specific and analytic with the storytelling and how it's weaved. That's very much with me on like Train to Busan. I want to watch that movie again, even though my first pass emotionally, I was not even remotely connected and or interested in anything happening in that flick. Rightfully so, because it's just a lazy zombie movie. Oh, by the way, too, John Larroquette is also in this movie, Mr. Nightcourt. Like I said, this movie is stacked. There's so many people in this movie, but yeah. So Kinski and John Hurd. John Hurd is, the guy from Big. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. Bob's office is bigger than my office. Okay, he's got like some of the best lines in Big. They have this relationship, and it's like his first love. It's like his first true relationship, and they do all the relationship bits. Okay, and throughout this movie, we have like hookers being killed. We have Malcolm McDowell luring in like a tourist that's completely topless, at a time. And we have Natasha Kinski in like somewhat weird, eerie dream sequences, completely nude with full bush. Okay, she gets tied up and banged also. Okay, so these are the tropes. Okay, in erotic horror, they're stacked with good actors. It's a compelling story. It's a mystery, and a lot of it is connected to the flashback in the beginning, because we're looking for relevance in that. We remember, and I think that's why it's the opening crawl, we'll call it, for this movie, or it's more like a pullback, lasts so long, because with the David Bowie beat, it literally lingers with you throughout the rest of the movie, and that's as effective, like subconscious filmmaking, like you can see. Okay, and the only way to see it is to feel the effect, period. Okay, I could show it to you and describe it, but it's not the same. So yeah, like this movie definitely is, like, it gets me excited. I want to watch it again. You should watch it. The entire time I'm thinking of why can't cat people cross over with like the Wolfman and Werewolf, and Cat People versus Werewolf movie, which I think would be the greatest thing of all time. Literally the greatest thing of all time. And so I'm just trying to, like, there's negatives about this movie, but I really didn't focus on classifying and categorizing what the negatives are. Okay, because when you hear like low exposition and these other things, okay, so a lot of the movie, that usually translates to you not, again, knowing where you are while you're watching the movie and knowing what to expect, okay, and not realizing or gathering what the stakes are per scene, okay. That's a little bit what happens with exposition, but I'll tell you though, we do get our like double flashback. We get our second flashback with the explanation of Malcolm McDowell and to Natasha Kinski when he's really trying to, like, again, like, save both of their lives by banging her. And he, again, his brother and sister banging her. He explains everything, okay? And we have the full flashback. And the flashback is part dream sequence. So this is very BVS here, okay? This is Bruce Wayne having his dream slipstream future like sequence in that, which again, I always love in that movie. But the entire time Malcolm McDowell's explaining this, I'm like, oh, I've seen this before. I've even seen some of the explanation. This is from Black Panther. Oh, that's right. Yeah. Potentially, this scene inspired the purple flash sideways, dream sequence in Black Panther. I would love to do like a side-by-side comparison because I think it's worth it. I mean, complete to the tree filled with panthers, like complete down to that. So look, and that's a great thing. This is why sometimes you jump into movies, because you never know what to expect. Like, you never know what you'll find. Okay, and look, this movie is, again, 1,000% watch. It's available on Amazon Prime. Go check it out. Now, this movie I wedged in. The original movie on this lineup was Terrifier on Netflix. Terrifier is out. It's out like a fat kid in dodgeball. I'm sorry. And it sucks because I do want to watch that movie for 31 Days of Dread. Hopefully, I'll just be able to get to it and do a straight Dream Warriors episode on it. Maybe sit down and talk to someone about that because it's supposed to be terrifying. But so what do we have? What do we got coming up? Well, coming up, we have a very special movie. A special movie that's going to frustrate Mark, and it's Train to Busan, another recommendation by him that I did not enjoy. So I don't know, have his and mine tastes changed this much since last November? Potentially. I would say that's a huge possibility. And even right now, we have Halloween out. I kind of want to try and catch that this weekend. I want to try and do a video of eating 5 nightmare sandwiches from Burger King during that night, so that would be a full night for me. But look, everyone, subscribe, support, comment. You already know how you can fund this show, fund the original content. But hey, I love you. Ooh, got something in my throat. I love you. Rock and roll, and let's just keep going. You know, more horror movies. Fill it up. Let's go, Peter. Dream Warriors. So I have redeemed myself with this episode because, well, maybe Amazon Prime suggestions helped redeem me. Because we're talking Paul Schrader, we're talking cat people. This is the 31 Days of Dread, episode day 26, a Dream Warriors podcast annual event where we celebrate Halloween and Halloween movies for every single day of the month of October. And this is the 26th and the 26th. Dream Warriors, welcome back to the 26th day of Dread. October 26th, day 26. We're talking redemption, aka cat people. If you haven't already read the headline of the episode and seen the thumbnail, yeah, cat people is a very, very forgotten, obscure horror erotic. And guess what? It's part of a redemption arc of me. So, of mine. Can I talk? Can we hear that music? Can we hear those scary tunes? Let's just get through the intro and get back to talking about this movie. I'm excited to tell you about it. I have to say, I'm excited to talk about this movie. Dream Warriors, thank you for joining me for the 31 Days of Dread. This is day 26. We're talking cat people, and it's redemption. So here we go.